Hey everybody, this is Erika Szabo. Welcome to another episode of Mind Babe. Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. So today I'm going to be doing a review for a game I think a lot of us have been looking forward to for a very, very long time now, and that is Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS. This game will also be coming out on the Wii U, but let's have a look and see if this one is worth your time. So if there's one thing Nintendo is very, very good at, it is uniting gamers. We look at games like Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D World, Hyrule Warriors, and we see games here that cater to both hardcore and casual gamers, whether you're playing multiplayer, whether you're playing solo. So it should come as no surprise that one beloved game, arena-style fighting game, Super Smash Bros., is being welcomed with open arms. This is its return to form. Or is it? It's kind of hard to say because there's so much good and bad about this game. So let me divulge a little bit more in terms of that. That said, with the release of Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS, the risk factor is high, and for several reasons. For one, it's portable. While we will be getting Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U next month, if you want your fix now, portable is the only way to go. And for a series that wants you to feel involved, the demand to pick it up despite the risk is relatively high. Now, as a longtime fan of the series, having started back during Melee and having done a lot of competitions, I was willing to take that jump. I was willing to take that risk and see where it would take me, and unfortunately, it didn't take me down a very good path because something about the controls, despite the fact that they are very customizable, I could not deal with it. My hands will cramp up about every 30 minutes when I try and play this damn game, which makes me very sad. I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but because I know some people have talked about how it takes some adjustments, something you get used to. However, it's not really something I have gotten used to, which makes me really sad. I don't know if I'm susceptible to getting hand cramps. I have absolutely no idea, but it's kind of a disappointment. And I can't really call it a flaw necessarily because it really depends on each person. I'm wondering in my mind right now if a Circle Pad Pro would help with something like this. I just need a more profound stick, basically. I need something that's a bit bigger. I need something that is a controller. I have small hands and I still have an issue with this. So it makes me wonder, will I prefer the Wii U version? I probably will. I can imagine so. I am much more of a controller person when it comes to fighting games. Definitely not. Definitely not for portable fighting games. That's a realization I have recently made. Second risk, multiplayer. And this is a really big one considering how big an effect multiplayer can have on a game of this scale and a game that relies so heavily on it. I think you might remember when we were younger and we used to just go to our friends' houses and we would duke it out. We would just play, but not exactly in this case. Maybe if it's a system, like a console, like a home console. But if it's portable, a little bit different. It's not quite the same because you're playing portably. And that can affect a lot of things. That can affect your whole experience. And in this case, it can really affect the experience depending on your connectivity. I actually had some pretty poor connectivity despite the fact that I have pretty good internet here at my house. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not horrible either, yet I would find myself booted out of multiplayer, like online multiplayer, or even in like local play, which is the craziest thing. It was a little bit upsetting, I suppose you could say. If you do have connectivity issues with games at your place, you might want to be a little bit wary about this. You might want to reconsider, just because it'll ruin the momentum of the experience, and the momentum is the most important part of it all, especially in such a fast-paced game. So maybe something to think about before getting the game, or if you already have it and you're having these issues, maybe tell your friends. Maybe share that, because there's nothing worse than spending a bunch of money on a game like this and then realizing you can't even play, right? It's a shame considering how fun for fun mode, which lets you join up with like-minded players and casual items on matches, or for glory mode, which offers timed 2-stock survival matches in 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 team play, really are. But even slight hiccups in internet, like I had mentioned, boots you out completely. It's kind of a drag. I don't really know how else to put it, but it can really ruin the experience, and just so a surprising amount, unfortunately. These are, luckily, the 2 biggest risks I can see in purchasing this game, and something that I wanted to address right off the bat. This isn't something where I want to tack it on at the end and be like, oh guys, this is such a great game, except for the fact that there's a lot of risk involved. So think about it. I kind of wanted to address that stuff right away, so you could really think about it, and then you can move on to the rest of my review here, which, in turn, you know, might prove otherwise for you. You might win you over completely. I don't really know. You know, it's all a matter of opinion at the end of the day, right? But there is one more thing that I do want to mention. One thing that has a lot to do with risks that I had mentioned before, maybe something that you want to consider. So, just something to think about. Smash Bros. On the Wii U requires 1 copy of the game and 4 controllers for flawless multiplayer fun. However, the 3DS port requires 4 copies of the game and 4 individual systems for a potentially inconsistent experience. Between the two, I'd have to say the Wii U port will be the winner for sheer enjoyment, but what about someone who doesn't own a Wii U and isn't willing to shell out the extra money for one? It's a gamble you'll need to figure out for yourself, really. It's kind of a bummer, but yeah, you gotta figure that out for yourself. So with that all finally out of the way, how about we now consider the meat of the game, the character roster. That is a very big part of this game. With 51 playable characters in total, there are plenty of fan favorites and oddballs in the mix, just as in past installments. However, what's so nice about this mix is how distinct each and every character is, with none ever feeling like total throwaways, which is so refreshing. It's so great, and that's something I've always really liked about the Smash Bros. Series, is I never really had that feeling. I never felt like, why the heck is this character even here, right? You know, while Pikachu and Samus were always my go-to characters, I found myself totally immersed in Xenoblade Chronicles Shulk, for obvious reasons, as I freaking love that game. If you don't know, I mean, I am a JRPG fiend, so I'm sure you're not so surprised. And his stat-changing Monado arts. It's pretty epic, and he's definitely my favorite character to play as in the game. You're sure to find just the right character for you, whether new or old. It's worth taking that risk and delving into any one of the new characters, even if you are a veteran player, even if you are comfortable with particular characters. Give them a try, and you might be pleasantly surprised. Another key feature I absolutely adore about this series are its dynamic environments, or dynamic stages. Now, this is something that has always been featured in the series, and something that really adds to the tension, adds to the momentum, because stages could just change out of the blue. They could change in the middle of a match at any moment, and it can really affect the outcome of a match. Now, in Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS, it continues that. Nintendo does a really great job of keeping you on your toes. Really great job of offering you these new stages you're not familiar with, and just can totally throw you off guard. And I think that's one of the most exciting and best parts, is this game is just so exciting for so many reasons, and this is truly a highlight. This is truly a highlight of it all. Now, aside from the character roster and the environments, which are very much the heart of the game, there wasn't really anything else that stood out to me, which is kind of a shame, aside from obviously the multiplayer. There's no epic subspace emissary adventure scene in Brawl, but who knows what the Wii U port has in store, you know? Classic mode goes back to its arcadey roots, which, while fun, does get old after playing this series since my teens. All-Star mode, which is essentially the same but infused with Nintendo history. And then there's Smash Run. While promising in scope, as it has you collecting stat boosts in a giant maze-like stage, doesn't offer nearly as much payoff as hoped. These solo modes are kind of bland, to be honest, and I'm really looking for more stuff in the console version that's going to be released in November. I'm just not too keen on what the 3DS port has to offer so far. So is Smash Bros. On the 3DS worth your time? Maybe. Maybe. It depends. It depends on a lot of things, and that's why this can be a little bit of a hard recommendation for me to make, simply because of the fact that I couldn't physically play the game for very long. I couldn't play it for as long as I wanted. Like, I could play in short bursts, but it was a game that I wanted to get immersed in and I couldn't get immersed in. That had to do with the controls. You know, I think I made it pretty clear I was so insanely wild about the dynamic environments, the character roster. Solo mode was kind of bland, really wanted to get into the multiplayer, except it was super shoddy. So there's a lot of things, but it all depends on you. It all depends on your connectivity in your home. It depends on if your hands get cramped up the way mine do. It depends on how you feel about these solo modes, although I'm pretty sure it's kind of unanimous. People are going to be pretty bored by them. It's not going to be quite the same as it will be on a console release, like a major console release. So yeah, you know, it's a bit up in the air for that one. But if you are a big fan, if you want to take that jump, go for it. Go for it, take that jump, because some people are totally wild about it. I wish I could be wild about it, but I'm unfortunately not in that spot. So I'm having a little bit of a double take here, where I think in my mind I'm like, what are you saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is Smash Bros. You love Smash Bros. How could you possibly... I feel like I'm betraying it in a way. I don't want to, but I'm surprisingly disappointed with the 3DS port. That's really sad. But please, you know, take this review with a grain of salt, because that could just be me. I know a lot of people who are really into this game, and I'm just not really as enthused about it. Now, I am crossing my fingers that the Wii U version will redeem itself, and then I'll have yet another reason to own a Wii U. Because right now I'm a little bit like, I don't really know. Like, I'll keep it, of course, but I really want to think that the Wii U port is going to be the real deal. It's going to be the game that we've been waiting for. I'm really, truly hoping for that. And I hope that you will consider making that purchase, and potentially even purchase the console itself, because there are more and more games for the Wii U that are total heavy hitters, that are totally worth your time at this point. So that is my review for Super Smash Bros. On the 3DS. I wish I liked you more. I really do. But hopefully the Wii U version will better suit my tastes. Who knows, right? I'm really curious to know. I have a lot of questions here, actually. What do you think of the game so far? And not only that, but who are your characters of choice, or character of choice? What's your favorite stage? Tell me all about it in the comments below. I would love to hear that, because as much as I love divulging things in my personal life in terms of the games I play, I love hearing so much about your experiences with these games as well. So I want to thank Nintendo for sending me a copy of this game to review, and I really hope you enjoyed this review. And I tried to make it as objective as I could, despite the fact that I had a lot of personal issues with it. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope this gave you some food for thought, and I'm really looking forward to your comments. So please stay tuned for another video very soon, and I'll see y'all later, okay? Alright, peace.